my say has nothing because I said
I'm calling it. every week.
Oscar will be this year's Drivers' Championship.
Saw it happen
But he's
with
smart
everyone.
enough. He would have tested the car. He would have known the car.
I would have argued you guys are smart enough too.
That's enough out of you two. Hello. Welcome back to another episode of Idiots of F1, the only podcast brave enough to say what everyone's thinking, including whether or not Katy Perry saved humanity by going to space. I'm Ollie. I'm joined, as always, by my fellow idiots, Digby, Tay, and Ev. Your three favourite... Sorry, that's a hangover from a previous conversation. Your three favourite armchair experts with just enough knowledge to be dangerous and just too much confidence to then say it out loud on a mic. Broadcast to thousands of our listeners. And speaking of, thank you. Thank you to everyone that continues to tune in and listen, to get involved via socials, and those indirectly who continue to shout at us through your headphones or speakers. Seriously, thank you. We do have a lot of fun here, albeit it's a bit chaotic, but I actually have one request. For all those that do listen, do make sure you follow us. You know, that whole like and subscribe things. Gents, obviously hello to all three of you, but before you tell me how you are, any words for our listeners?
Hello.
I just would like to
Astronaut.
know every time I get off an aeroplane now, for any longer than 11 minutes, I will be kissing the ground when I get off every time. So
Well,
any flight longer than 11 minutes.
Does the door open from the inside or the outside?
I open it, and then someone stops me from opening it because I'm not allowed to open it. Then they come with a special thing and open it.
But the actual thing that's probably projected this further into the media sphere, particularly the social media side of thing. The stratosphere,
Nailed
like
it.
that, Tay. That's clever. But the suggestion
I see
that
what
it
you
was
did there.
like, it was almost like what was the moon landing kind of conspiracy theory? They're suggesting that it never went to space. Yeah. Anyways, whatever. Cool. So
That proves it then. So
yeah, that proves it. But literally, other than that, you want to say thank you to our fans, our adoring fans, who are now wondering why the fuck they tuned in again?
They've already turned off, so I could say thank you, but they're not listening. So, but they listened long enough to get a play out of it, so thank you.
Thank you. All right, well, this week we're heading straight to the streets of Jeddah for our rear-view review of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Look, guys, a race full of front-row drama, DRS games, and the kind of stewards' decisions that probably have Christian Horner still drafting emails to the FIA. Then it's time for the segment that keeps our dignity in Parc Fermé. Hush, you been paying attention. Our beloved chaos quiz that asks the big question, like who's actually watching the races or taking an interest in the host city. And more importantly, who's bluffing their way through the answers. By way of a quick leaderboard update, Digby's somehow leading on 2.5. Don't ask me why. It's got half a point, and Tay and Ev are tied up there in the rear on 2 points. It's still anyone's quiz to lose, or win, or sabotage. Finally, we wrap things up this week with What's Verstappin, where we dissect the biggest F1 stories off the track. And this week, is Max planning a $470 million switch? Is Seb Vettel the man we all need back? And how do you politely discuss the F1 Academy racing in Jeddah without having the F1 president kick you out of the paddock? Kick your feet up, pour yourself a beverage, and let's get stuck into another week of fast cars, slow takes, and the loudest podcast in the paddock. All right, time to rip off the DRS flap and take a full throttle look in the rear view mirror, because the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix was anything but dull. Jeddah gave us high speed, low margin, and a few moments that had us yelling at the screen like Max after a time penalty. From Oscar Piastri once again showing he might just be the real deal, to Verstappen making headlines with both his driving and his silence, this one had layers. There were midfield scraps, aggressive pit stop calls, and yes, even a Ferrari sighting on the podium. So buckle up, because it's time to break down who made the moves, who made a mess, and who might be wondering what on earth just happened out there. Gents, let's start at the top. Piastri, he continues his ascendancy. He's gone from 4th to 3rd to 2nd to now outright leader in the Drivers' World Championship. He's clinched his 3rd win from 5 races. Just also a really interesting fact, which highlights, well, to be fair, I guess that's why they have it, just how important qualifying is, because this was the first race that the non-pole sitter actually won.
Really?
Which I thought was Yeah. So of all,
Yeah,
and sorry, that's not in history by all means. That's
just
that's
this year,
in
right?
this year. So of the 4 races this week, every race was won by the pole sitter. Look, he's now overtaken Lando to become the lead drivers' championship champion.
By 12.
Music to my
Boys,
ears.
he's the first Aussie since his manager, Mark Webber, to lead the Drivers' Championship since 2010. Oscar has won as many races as Lando, right? So they've both got 5 wins. Bearing in mind, 3 of them have come for Oscar this year. But Oscar's actually done it for about 80 races less. So he's won 5 races in about 51, which I think is about 10% ratio, right? Which I would suspect, Ev, correct me if I'm wrong.
Is that math? Are you mathing?
Yeah, I'm mathing. Should we have a math debate?
Go heading to Evan Locke, the maths expert.
I'm heading, to what remedial maths? Here we go again.
Maths 1A.
Right? So 5 wins in 50-odd races. Lando, on the other hand, has had 5 wins in 133 races, bearing in mind his first win was only last year in Miami, which obviously we're going to next week. Boys, I don't care how much Zach Brown or Andreas tried to suggest otherwise. Surely there is no question in all of their minds now that Oscar is their number 1 driver.
Yeah, I mean, on top of those wins, I just love to see those 2 moves he's done this year already on Lewis Hamilton, right? Like, Lewis is a good driver. We know he's a good driver. And we know it is hard to cleanly get around him. He went down those lines both times in this race, and I think it was Australia. Was it Australia?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
It was like
in the wet.
slimmest of margins. You can't get that. You can't afford to make a mistake there. And he did it with such ease and such pace. So it's really outpacing him those times. It's like that. Those little moments are the moments that show you that he's championship material. I know he's winning and that helps, but those are the kinds of times where you're like, yeah, geez, this kid's good. This kid's got it.
Yeah. And to be fair, and we'll get to the moment, but Tay, just to reiterate, and you threw out like the turn 1, like, but Oscar's mentality to attack that turn is a pure signal of I'm calling it now, and I know I know my say has nothing because I said
I'm calling it every week.
Oscar will be this year's Drivers' Championship. I'm going to call it.
You know what? I was just thinking that before we started the episode. It's like, it's not the dumbest call because his car's good.
Nah.
He's good. And
he's
tell you what I loved about before.
It can only get better.
We won't talk about the controversy yet because we're not there. But that first corner, it was unquestionably his corner. There was a point where, you're watching him, he's like, oh, he might go for this here. Then as they get there, he's like, well, it's his to take now. Like, and maybe another driver would have been scared of Max
right?
and let Max, knowing how he drives, let him just do his thing.
Norris would have.
Yeah, exactly. Or Leclerc or someone like
that.
that.
But also, that's the thing, right? We haven't seen anyone, I mean, Lewis probably wouldn't have given it up, but no one else has done what Max does until Oscar. Oscar's the only one who gives just as much as what Max gives when it comes to that shit. Max would never have given it up.
Nah, look, Ev, you've been around for a long time. You've seen world champs come and go. Like, I mean, we've all spoken at length over the last couple of years about how Max, and this isn't a criticism. This is actually why he's what I think is one of, if not the greatest of all time. And I know that's an unfair comment to make because it's like, your whole LeBron versus Kobe Bryant versus Michael Jordan stuff. They're all different. Yep, fine. But Ev, like, Max is a bully on the track, which is why he's been so good for so long. You're looking, you've called out Lando previously and said he doesn't have that mentality.
Yep.
Do you think Oscar does? Do you look at Oscar and see shades of world champions previously that say that guy is technically gifted, he's a fucking animal on the track?
Yeah, just the way he carries himself for the whole time, all last year. We saw a few years ago when Lando was on track to win in Russia, in Sochi.
Don't forget that one.
Yeah.
I love that one.
With the wet.
With the wet.
And you could hear it in his voice that he was like trying to
be
keep
George
all
Russell.
these plates spinning. And he's, if you're going to be a champion, you seal that deal. You close out the win, whether it's to come in for the tyres or what have you, and
You're decisive.
yeah, decisive. Or
Well, he
have,
kind of
like,
was.
the wisdom.
He kind of was
to-
incorrectly decisive, though. Like he went
Yeah, that's
against
right.
team orders, which was
Yeah.
a bold move on a day like
That
that,
is a
and
bold
he got
move.
it spectacularly wrong.
So just for context, they
But
wanted
he-
him to pit for wets, right?
Yeah.
Back in Russia, and he chose
Yeah.
not to because he was leading the race and he wanted to win the race. He thought he could make it to the end on
Well,
slicks.
yeah, and
he
at
ended up
that
ice
point-
skating the whole
At
way.
that point, there was only like one wet corner, but by the time he got
Yes.
to the
Yeah.
second half of the track, half of the track
It was flooded.
Yeah.
But you can imagine, like, inside his helmet, it's like, stop looking at me!
Don't tell me what to do, Dad.
While we're on McLaren, obviously pretty substantial recovery drive. He ended up qualifying in 10th when he wrecked his car, and he finished in 4th. And if you wanted, and there will be certain people here which will get really shitty because there are a lot of Lando lovers, and one of them happens to live in the same house as me. And every time I say anything, she's like,
She
"Why
must
are you
be
being so
British.
hard on him?" I'm like, "Yeah."
God, the Brits
She's
are so
British.
predictable.
Why-
They're so predictable.
But okay,
Why
so,
are you enabling him, Jamie?
But here's the thing, right? Like, you could look at that through a keyhole and say, incredible race, great work, that's incredible. You know, yes, maybe he is a possible world champion contender if he can do that sort of stuff. However, would a champion write his car off in Q3,
No.
right? Which,
No.
mind you, took 25 different parts. You imagine being that garage, having to replace 25 different parts of that car overnight. But here's the real one for you, right? And this is where I think you need to challenge Lando's capacity, is that he actually would have finished on the podium if he had a better racecraft. And what I mean by that is he should have held back and overtook Lewis before the DRS, but it took him 2 laps of Lewis doing the
Yeah.
identical
I'm glad we brought
thing.
this up. I'm glad we brought this
Yeah.
up because
Right.
it's like, yes, well done, 10th to 4th, but you couldn't get past the slow as Ferrari in your fucking super speedy McLaren. So what's taking you so long?
Ev, can you just explain what was happening when, like, what was the mistake that Lando made in those 3 laps of fighting, which I reckon would have cost Lando, a second, which is about what he finished off behind the Ferrari. So I reckon it cost him the race. But to just elaborate on what I'm talking about here by way of that error for our listeners.
There is the DRS detection line, which is how it measures whether or not you're within a second of each other. And what is somewhat unique about this track is that just before the final corner, normally it's further back, but it kind of makes it so it's a bit of a slingshot corner. And yeah, Lando kept coming up behind Lewis. He'd overtake. Lewis would get
On that last corner.
on that last corner, and then Lewis would get the DRS and just drive around him.
Yeah.
And he did that, over 2 laps. And then I can't remember if it was Lando or Oscar, and somebody said to him, I think it was Oscar, and his engineer on the radio said, "You're coming up to Lewis. You've got to
Sneak up on
you've
him.
got to get him where he doesn't expect you to, because obviously he was playing Lando like a fiddle, and then very quick, because the radio messages are delayed, but only by like 30 seconds or so. When that radio message came through, that's when he overtook Lewis in an incredible overtake. That was just
Sneaky.
just very impressive. Took a lot of confidence.
And very smooth.
Yeah.
But are we talking about Oscar here, or are we talking about Lando?
No. We're talking about, Oscar.
Well,
But he
that's
was just
confusing.
giving an example of the
Yeah.
difference.
Okay.
Yeah, no, but he's giving the example of
yeah.
the difference of drivers, right?
Yeah, but so on the third attempt, Lando didn't overtake Lewis before the detection zone, waited and sat behind him, got the DRS, and then finally went past Lewis.
But
And
that
Lewis
was-
couldn't catch him.
again,
No, of course.
And that was And that was because his engineer told him just be like, hey,
Yeah.
just be
Yeah.
patient.
And what's funny is this is not a new
He had to
thing.
be
This is
told.
a thing that's been happening with DRS for a few years now. Because remember, Leclerc used to do this a lot too with Max. They would fight, and he would just let Max overtake him, and then take him over again. And then Max, it took Max like
On
3 or
that
4
same
laps
track.
to figure it out. But Max was it didn't matter. Once Max got him, it was all over Red Rover. It's just.
Which is quite funny, actually, because this did happen a couple of years ago when we were at Saudi Arabia, and that's what you called out last week, Diggs, where Max brake tested Lewis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was on the same corner, and actually Lewis got told. The commentators were pretty pissy at Lewis because they suggested that he brake tested Lando at one stage. You saw Lewis slow down really quickly on that corner, unnecessarily so, which almost caught Lando out. Anyway, so look, I guess the point being there is that Lando made a huge mistake in qualifying, which then stuffed up his race day, and then he actually got in his own way from being on a podium. So I personally, that is why you put aside how good Oscar is, but when you put him against Lando, that is why Oscar is a better driver.
And my question to the fans, and I know Jay, you're listening to this. Other than the fact that he's British, and I totally get that, like you want your home driver to be awesome. What is it about Lando that people keep defending? Because if this was Lance Stroll, you'd all have been throwing him off the track by now. Like, what is it about Lando
Mr.
that
75,
you keep defending
Mr.
when he's not
75.
doing a good enough job as the number one driver at the number one team? It's and the way he holds himself when he isn't doing well or when he is doing well. Like when Rick complained about the car. Well, that's just Danny Rick. And then suddenly, when Lando complains about the car, that's okay. It's the car's fault. It's not Lando's fault. Even though Oscar's smashing it, But when Danny was struggling, it was Danny's fault, not the car. Like, I don't think there's a lot of empathy there from Lando. And I know that's a bold word to use about an F1 driver, but he particularly has this weak arrogance about him, which really rubs me the wrong way, and unfortunately he's just not backing it up with his
It's like a humble arrogance, isn't it? It's like I'm good, I like myself, but like cry for me when things don't work for me.
Well, I think he just seems like he's got weak
today.
mentally. He's just a bit weak mentally, I think, and it's easy to be confident about yourself when you're doing well,
when you're winning. Yeah, exactly.
All right, well let's just quickly switch to rounding out. Let's talk who actually came second here. We've touched on it, but despite starting from pole, Max received a 5-second penalty for leaving the track and gaining an advantage at turn 1. That's the FIA's description. They're not my words. That's the FIA words.
They're my words.
This penalty dropped him to second place. Post-race, obviously Verstappen was very refrained from commenting on the incident to the point where he was actually
I'm kind of over that.
I'm going to say it, and I've bigged up
He's
Max
just
for a while,
rude
but
now.
I feel like he was quite childish. Yeah.
Yeah.
He highlighted obviously the tensions with the FIA regulations on driver conduct. So that said, there was some really strong pace. It's been like up and down for Red Bull over the last 3 weeks. Like he had that incredible turnout at Japan. Then they were awful in Bahrain, and then he was great. That qualifying lap on the weekend was incredible. But so there again shows that car can still compete, and he's still in the mix for the World Championship. Not the Constructors Championship, mind you, because Yuki did a damn good job of again iterating the gap between number 1 and number 2 by predominantly. And I'm going to ask Ev. Ev, that crash. That looked very much like Yuki's fault rather than anything to do with Pierre in that first lap that saw both of them actually end up retiring from the race then and there.
Yeah, I always think it's funny when you see a car and there isn't any explanation for it, where a car will get damage, and like if Max or Lewis gets damaged, and then they'd still go on to win, and then like someone else can have like the tiniest little breakage of a front wing or something, and then like the whole car's undrivable, and
It's
so
retired.
Yeah, and
because
so
Yuki got the car back to the garage, didn't he?
yeah, and it was quick. Like
Yeah.
he was going at
It didn't look like there was anything
Yeah.
So
wrong.
why'd
and
they
then-
retire him? What
I
happened?
don't know what. I don't know. It probably hit something
He
in
was
the
last.
back.
Yeah, okay.
You can't fix anything like after the front. The front wing's the only thing you can fix, basically.
Yeah, okay.
You
Oh,
cannot.
I see.
You
Okay.
can't fix any. If something's broken at the back, be it.
Can't replace it.
You can't pull it off.
But yeah, it's just kind of funny that this guy, he looked pretty fine. But it was his fault. I think that he.
Gave no room. It's like he squished himself into a spot where he gave no room for Pierre to
Yeah,
turn
like
the corner.
it kind of like just understeered right. And it just,
Exactly.
yeah, it's a bit weird because that probably shouldn't happen because your tires should be warm and.
But that's why it's a racing incident, right? That's why Yuki got no penalty, correct?
Well, yeah, but they also take into account that he's been retired, so it's kind of
Yeah, okay.
like that. I mean, it is weird. I suppose we'll get to it, but the whole first corner thing with Max, I actually think that that's a racing incident. Like it's if you don't have a racing incident
okay.
on the first, I know I'm the first person to
Okay.
Well, that's why I only got 5 seconds because they were getting
well, let's get
some
to it.
lenience there.
yeah.
Okay,
Like,
so the context here, let's set up the context for those that may have missed the race but have heard that there was some drama. So we touched on it earlier. Oscar was starting second on the grid in the dirty part of the track. He had an incredible launch, beat Max off the line, squeezed himself into what was the lead position. Max chose not to relent, so he continued to push on the line that Max had swung out to do. Ended up having to go off the track. By going off the track at that part of it, he got such an advantage. It was then suddenly like, I don't know,
yeah,
10 meters, 20 meters in front.
They
like
could
car,
see that-
car length or two.
they can see they get telemetry in the FIA, and so they can tell that he didn't just slow down. He made sure to maintain his
Keep going.
speed. And so
And he wasn't fully locked on the steering
yeah,
either.
so there were mitigating factors that indicate like a lack of culpability, I suppose.
There was no intent. It was almost like, so you know how Christian...
Yeah.
So at the end of the race, Christian showed this screenshot, which was bold. for
Photo.
him. He usually deletes his screenshots.
Oh,
He had a screenshot of Max being in front of Oscar and using that as his evidence, which provided no context to the fact that the only reason Max was in front is because Oscar had started braking because he intended to take the corner, whereas Max had decided not to brake because he had no intention of taking the corner. And before they got to the corner, Oscar is clearly in the lead, and that's where the context would come from. Before they've even made it to the apex, Oscar has taken him over. Then they get to the apex, and it becomes, I guess, if you want to really defend Max, it becomes a grey area because Oscar's genuinely slowing down. Of course, at some point, Max is going to go past him. And I watched it again a few times after the race. I was like, the more I watched it, the more I was like, Oscar is cleanly ahead. And Max had no right. I would have had more respect for Max if he'd bumped into him, turning into him.
So
he
I've got
do that.
Oh yeah,
At least
imagine
he
that.
tried to do it.
Imagine
Yeah.
that. Okay, so I've got a couple of points here which I want to mull over with you lot. The first question I have for you is Christian was quite adamant, and I think Max was quite silent in his perspective, but would suggest that he's echoing the same, that he had nowhere to go. But realistically, and Ev, this is more from you, like noting that they have been they would have been briefed on it. They know where track limits are and what they can and can't do. But when Christian says he had nowhere to go, the answer is not, okay, we'll go off track and take the advantage and go into first place, but actually put your brakes on and slip in behind Oscar. Sit behind Oscar. Is that the answer? Is that what he should have done by way of...
This a lot of this is, I find, very frustrating. Also, just as a side note, quickest set of lights I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, gee,
Went
fast.
It's like the person's there going.
It's normally like 3 to 5 second hold, and it's random. It's completely random every time. It's just done by a computer. I've never seen one that's done that quickly, and I suspect that's why Max was
good.
slow off the line.
Caught unaware.
Yeah.
Oscar, wasn't
Why can't you tuck in? You've got the whole rest of the race to overtake him. Like, what are you doing?
Exactly.
And especially if you've got the DRS in second place, you know.
So here's my next question, because I think you're about to go where, and I want to pretend that my journalistic capability was what set you up here. And this is for anyone. My second point is, and this is again another. Imagine if we actually did interview Christian Horner rather than the Chat GPT version, because this is what I would have asked him. Right, I would have said, "That's all well and good, Christian. You're sitting there and saying that the 5-second penalty, which, mind you, and Digby, you've already stated, was a lenient. So the actual penalty for that is a 10-second. And Lawson, ironically, another Red Bull driver, got pinned for 10 seconds. So because it was the first lap, they gave some leniency to Max and said, okay, well, Max, we won't give you a 10-second, but we'll give you a 5-second penalty, right? So there was already a bit of like, we're giving some room for the fact that it's a racing incident. But Christian was then so adamant because they'd lost by 2.8 seconds that they would have probably won the race.
That's
if
not
they
how
weren't
it
given the
works.
5.
That's not how it
well,
works,
hold
Christian.
on. But let's we're back in remedial math. Let's say that, like, fine. You take away 5 minus 2.8, you would have won by 2.2. Well done, Christian. However, would they have not been better off knowing that they were going to have to give that position back? Wait till the DRS zone, let Oscar pass, then overtake Oscar at the end of the first lap.
You're not allowed to do that, but yeah, I know what you're saying.
Oh, well, okay, fine.
Also,
like, maybe
why
not
didn't
at that.
they just give the place back? Surely that would have
Just give it back.
But surely that would have been
owned it.
better for them. Surely that would have been better for them.
Would have
It
been
happened
100%.
last week with Lando. He went off track and overtook Lewis. And the whole point of this year is, and since last year, was they want the teams to work it out amongst themselves.
Work it out.
And so McLaren were like, give the position back, because if we don't, the next punishment's going to be worse than that. It'll be 5 seconds or whatever it might be.
I like that. It almost adds to the strategy. It's like what team
Yeah.
can deal with the penalty better. And guess who's not?
Can you
gonna
just
be able
imagine-
to deal with that?
But wait, are you
penalty?
saying that McLaren had the chance to talk to Red Bull about that? Like, McLaren were like, give the position back.
No. Red Bull would have been able to go, hey, Max, you'll have to give that position back. They did. They did it with that penalty is coming, but I didn't hear the radio, but I'm assuming they didn't tell him to give it back.
I heard one person say, and I thought it was very funny, and it was like, well, they didn't ask him to give the position back. It plays into their victimhood, the card that they play so well. And this one guy made a point. It was like, maybe they didn't ask him to give it back because they knew that he wouldn't. And it would look really embarrassing if they tell him and he goes, "No, I'm not giving it back." Like all that drama we had, was it last year with Max not?
I tell you what I did
with Perez.
The only reason I disagree with that, Ev, is because when I listened to the radio moment, it screamed of, "Oh, so typical! They're penalising us again, as if they get penalised for everything." So the radio goes, Max, you've been given a 5-second penalty," and he goes, "Oh, whoa!" It's just like, "Yep, I know."
That's enough
just
for
keep
that,
going.
Max.
Yeah, of course we did. Just keep going.
Yeah.
And
Classic.
I just want to go back to that Christian thing. The Christian thing about the 2-second thing. It's like, well, mate, you're assuming that nothing changes. Like Oscar doesn't drive
in the whole race.
You've not seen the butterfly
insulting
effect.
Oscar by saying Oscar was driving as fast as possible the whole time. There was no time management. He was just, you have to drive faster. And then when Max responds the way he does and says, I just can't say anything because when I say something, it's wrong. It's such a manipulative, childlike defense.
Get in trouble.
It's like, it's not. It doesn't matter what
What's
I
the
say because
point?
I'm always wrong.
What's
It's
the
like, well,
point?
yes and no. It's just when you say what you say, you're being so obtuse about it that
There's
you
no
never
accountability.
do what Oscar or Danny or one of the nicer drivers do. Even Alonso these days goes, you know what? Yeah, I thought I could get him.
that.
I couldn't get him, so I had to go through track limits. I'll take
So
that
here's a
penalty.
question.
He just assumes that whatever he does is right, and I don't know if it's a game or not at this point, or he's really
Yeah, but remember,
ignorant.
In Max's defense, remember Lewis was all of this. Oh, the FIA, they're out against me. You remember, go back years ago. Lando, they all do it, right?
No,
just before
all
the Red Bull
drivers
Max
I can't
fans turn
stand.
off us.
All the drivers I can't stand do this shit.
Yeah, But okay, so here's a question for you, right? Because we've used different words. Ev, you said victimhood. Diggs, you've spoken defensiveness. What has come out after the weekend is just how much Red Bull hate losing, right? And Ev, I loved your segment last week where you were talking about the idea of Max leaving. Just go and do what you've done. You found Vettel, you found Max, go and find another one. You're a world championship outfit. And it was the first time I've ever heard you speak so fondly of Red Bull. And just again, to reiterate, we hate everyone equally.
Credit where credit's due.
We hate we are here just to talk about whoever pisses us off or carries on. Like, it doesn't matter even if we like him. Like, I love Lando and I'm happy to talk nonsense about Lando. So just before you think this isn't the podcast for you, it is, because I promise you we'll get round to paying out the driver you hate soon too. But is this a case of just, it comes with part and parcel? Like, is it just a never back down mentality rather than a defensiveness? You know, like, because when you speak victimhood and you sit there and you guys frame it like they're being the victims rather than they actually don't give up a fight on anything. They will fight for everything. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. I think that
it's also a tactic for sure. I think with Christian it's a tactic. I think with Max it is a genuine, like, he just really thinks he's in the, like,
I can't do anything wrong.
I think he genuinely feels people are out to get him. Because of the way he complains about stuff. Like, if it came in and out, like with Christian, he's always calmer in his defense, and he's also very, very calculated. He never doesn't have an argument. Whereas Max does things like, well, I can't say anything because whenever I say something, so like Christian doesn't play that game. Christian goes, here's my screenshot. Here's why I think I'm right. Now argue why I'm wrong. Like, he always has a good.
But that's why you.
Defense.
That's why you've actually got to love Christian for his. He's been doing it for 20 years, right? Yeah, I love him.
Yeah.
Okay, so, but I was going to ask a question and it's completely eluded me. That was what I was going to ask you, guys. Is Max enjoying being a racing car driver? Do you actually think he just, like, obviously, like, he's media trained too, so when they have a good weekend, he seems to be quite like, that was simply lovely. Simply, you know, and it just all feels a bit like, is he actually enjoying doing what he's doing? I asked this. Sorry, let me contextualize. Let me just quickly. They asked him pre the race, like, what was he looking forward to about having the week off, and he goes, just getting out of here and being with my family. And then there's an interview of him. I can't remember who ran the interview, but talking about, like, how his dad's been with him his whole time. Time's gone so quick. He needs more time with family. Like, for me, he's either about to retire. Well, yes, he is. That's right. He is. He's got his own kid with
I
his
think
missus
even
coming.
if he did retire, it wouldn't last very long because we see how much all he does is race. Like, when he says time with family, I imagine he sits down for lunch with them and then goes and jumps on the simulator for the rest of the evening. That's how I imagine.
Yeah, it's the e-racing. That's all he wants to do.
But to answer your initial question, Noel, I think even when he was winning, he probably wasn't enjoying that so much because it was so boring. And now he's not winning, but he's being challenged and losing. So it's like he's now not even getting the good wins. I think if he and, let's say, Oscar, because Lando, let's forget about him. Let's say Oscar and him have a genuine fight for the title this year. I think he might actually enjoy it, but only if he gets his way with moments like this. He has to win those moments sometimes. Otherwise, he's going to hate it. He's going to hate it so much.
So here's a question for you. And Tay, I'm going to get you to answer it because I can see you biting your lip because you want to say something. Diggs, you just said that Max has been bored from winning, but Alonso has come out and said that Max's championships are against better quality of race drivers than any previous championship driver. What's going on there? What's up with the Alonso love for Max at the moment? Is that because he's coming to Aston Martin? I mean, what's going on here?
No, I reckon it's because he wants him to come to Aston.
Wouldn't that mean that's the end of Alonso's
drive? It's
drive?
not going to happen. No, it's the end of Stroll.
We'll get to him in a minute.
But I think also Max is looking. Everyone thinks that he'll go on a sabbatical. So I reckon he might take a hiatus for next season, especially if he's got
with
a
the new
newborn.
regs. You reckon he wouldn't want to be around for the new regs?
Well, they're not excited. They're not excited
No
about
one
the
is.
new regs. All the issues that are coming out about the engine and the power and the lack of power and all that sort of stuff. It doesn't sound like anyone's excited about that whatsoever. But I think
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's hard to get excited when there's no challenge. It's not anybody else's fault.
And still did
he just wants
e-racing, sim racing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So
Figure out which team's got the best
I
car.
don't know. Yeah, that'd be what
Smart.
how simple it must be
Smart.
to sit back and take your time to see where the cards lay.
Who, Stroll
Max
and
or-
Alonso?
End of this year.
Oh, yeah, end of
No,
this year.
yeah,
Their
you're
their
right.
contracts are up, so give them a just.
They
give
can be the
them
fall
time.
guys.
Spend time with your baby. Yeah,
Are you,
there are
Can I
worse
ask
things
you,
you
Ev?
could be doing with your time.
Ev, are you?
Yeah.
Is this your hot take? Are you calling it now? Are you saying that Max will not be racing next year? Are you willing to go on record and suggest that definitively?
Look, if anything,
No.
my takes
come
are
on.
too hot.
Grab your balls and make a
You're going
statement.
to do a Jordan.
Wow. I think we'll just have. Well, we're going to have to wait and see anyway. But yeah, that sounds like a really nice idea. You get out of the rat race. Yeah, see what happens. Spend time with your baby. Spend time. Oscar's really the only one who's like undefeatable, indefeatable, because he's so relaxed. Max doesn't get under his skin, and that would piss him off. All Max wants to do is kind of bully people and get away with as much as he can, which is fair enough. That's a tactic.
Good enough. Yep.
But it's Oscar who doesn't play that game, and he doesn't really care.
Good call.
And I don't think it's an act.
All right. I like that
I'll
take.
tell you
Ev.
what,
I like
just
that.
before we move on from Max, you know how much Oscar kicking Danny out of McLaren rubbed us the wrong way initially?
You were
Okay, sure, yeah.
What about let's go back. Let's go back even
us.
further to when he said he wasn't going to go to Alpine. And you were like, "Who the fuck is this guy?"
Right,
what?
right. Yeah, so when you're not on his side, I now go back now that I know him better, and I love how he treated that whole scenario.
You know it. First
Yeah,
name.
me and
No,
Oscar,
yeah.
I call him PP Boy. So basically, if you're not on his team, that would give you just rile you up so much. He's so calm and so direct. Just like, look, I'm not doing that. No, I'm not doing that. And I'm waiting for that moment where him and Max have an altercation, and Max is fuming, like that Ocon time, right? And I can see it's going to be like a Karen in a retail shop, and Oscar's just going to be standing there like that puppet meme of like looking to the side at everyone else, and he's just going to have Max's face going, he's just going to be like, okay, mate, give him the thumbs up and go,
get me the
you
manager.
deal with that, man, and just walks away, and then Max is like losing his shit.
Your
even more.
problem.
That'll be the day he quits and goes on the sabbatical. Ev.
You know what's really funny is like when they were getting out of the cars and going and putting their shit on the thing and getting weighed at the end of the race, I saw Oscar next to Max. I didn't realize Max sort of comes across as he'd be a kind of a tall guy, like his
Stature,
posture and the way Oscar's taller than him. And it's a really weird contrast to see because I don't really see that. Like, when you look at Oscar, you don't see him being particularly.
Well, they're not all
tall
Yuki size, but they're all pretty small, except for George and I think
No, I
Hulkenberg.
know.
Yeah.
Fun size.
Albon's
no,
quite tall
Albon.
too, yeah.
Albon.
Carla, they had that
Yeah,
photo
yeah.
of them at the paddle club, the paddle ball club, whatever the fuck they play. And Lando's quite a lot taller than Carlos, actually. Carlos is real small.
Oh, don't. You'll upset a lot of people that have height issues.
Well, I didn't know if it, when I saw them when they used to drive together. They used to like ride around on their little scooters like Lewis did, and they came. We were about to go on stage, or we just finished, and they came riding on their scooters to the backstage, and it didn't strike me as how small he was because they're on their scooters, so it gives them an extra I don't know, a few inches on there.
What is this, a monster truck scooter? Like with big fucking monster truck wheels.
No, it's
Like,
tiny,
he's really tall.
It's a tiny
full
scooter,
foot.
but it's still like 10% of his height.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of new heights, let's talk about Charles Leclerc, who secured Ferrari's first podium of the year.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, he finished third. safe to say it's the best drive of his season. Look, he claimed that this was hope for the beginning of a comeback, and obviously we've heard this sort of rhetoric for a couple of weeks now. But I think it's fair to say, and I don't want to fall on another Lewis beat up because we did that last week, but his teammate has suggested anything other than a comeback here. So look, in stark contrast to Charles, is Lewis, who finished in 7th. You know, he couldn't have made it any more apparent that he's continuing to struggle. He expressed his discomfort with the car setup. He admitted that there was nothing positive to take away from such a difficult race. Gents, we joked last week about the Lewis self-deprecation.
We joked about Lando with it
did,
as well.
yeah, but Lewis is now out there saying, this is going to be a painful rest of the year. Martin called him out for still claiming not to understand the car. He threw out the idea that Birdman could get into that Ferrari at exactly the same track, having never driven it, and finished in 7th last year. Martin then talked about how Antonelli jumped into Lewis's old car. Granted, obviously, he had hours of testing in it, and has been competing incredibly well in that Mercedes. And then obviously made the reference, and even Lewis suggested that the car's obviously not that much or that shit because they got a 3rd place with Charles. What the fuck is going on with Lewis? Right? Remember, this bloke is being paid $100 million a year. His body language is dejected. He was so short in the post-race that it led to quite a lot of commentary online about what's up with his morale. Like, is everything genuinely okay with Lewis? Mind you, he had plenty of time to pose for photos with good old J-Lo, who, mind at 56 years of age...
fine. He's just shit at driving the Ferrari.
Shit.
He's doing just fine. Maybe a few more hours on the simulator.
But also,
mate.
I think people keep forgetting as well is like he spent many years accustomed to Mercedes. Of course, it doesn't matter about these younger drivers being able to adapt to these cars and being able to fit in and do it. But it would have been muscle memory to the max.
I think.
With Mercedes.
I agree with you, Tate, and I think this really, to me, points out just how much people thought Hamilton could get into any car and be the best driver in the world because he's the 6th-time world. And it's like, well, no, he can't. He needed to be in the Mercedes to do that. This is the issue I have so often when these drivers do so well. Everyone's like, he could do so well in any car. It's like, no.
So here's the question. Here's the question. And I didn't want to use this Stroll point now because I wanted to touch on him later. But just so I'm clear, because we all made a joke about you could have chucked anybody in Lewis's car back many years ago and they would have won the world championship. But is it fair to say that it's not just about the car? It has to be the combination of driver and car. You cannot just jump into the best. Like, could you put, and this is why I brought up Stroll, because he made a quip that and again, I don't know how true some of these quotes are. So again, this is that integrity that we talk about we don't have. There was a quote running around that as if it had been said by Lance Stroll, where if you put him in the Red Bull car, Max would be finishing in 2nd spot.
Fuck.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true. But that's like saying you put Lance Stroll in that McLaren that Oscar's driving, and suddenly Lance Stroll is going to be winning races. But it's not, right? Like, it's a combination of driver and car.
It's not just. I think I'd like to hear from Ev here because I'm not quite sure I've got this right. But it's not just car and driver. It's also strategist in every race. Like set up for if you got to get your set up every race. Like that's also got to come into it as well. It's having the car made correctly for the driver. Like we can see it's done well with Max, not done well with the rest of Red Bull. The Merc, the thing that was great with Merc, you had Bottas and Hamilton for so long, and then there was Rosberg. Everyone who got into that car was doing pretty damn well. Russell came along, did really well. Everyone hopped in did pretty well in that car. But still, you had to be the best driver to get the best out of the car. And I think people like to think it's just the driver because it's easy to attach your emotions to the driver. Yeah, and Lewis
True.
is the most famous, so it's cool to like Lewis. It makes you look like you know what you're talking about if you like Lewis because everyone's heard of Lewis.
What are the names of those? You just talked about people being able to attach emotions to the drivers rather than cars. But what are the names of those people that like marry their cars? They actually genuinely fall in love and have sex with their cars.
Autophiles.
What are they?
Autophiles.
Why did you know that? Like if I
Because
put
I remember
that,
reading a story
autofile,
about
mate.
it.
yeah, if I put that in Haas, you've been paying attention.
Takes one to know one.
Yeah, okay.
I think it's
Actually, it's
I think
lovers of
autophiles.
cars. You'll find.
Yeah. No, there was that weird one that did the rounds where the bloke would actually sleep. Anyways, whatever. I'm getting off topic.
It was with a Volkswagen. wasn't it?
Volkswagen
I
or
know it was a Beetle or some
Yes.
shit. Yeah.
yeah. All right, so Ev, I mean, look, I know I throw to you whenever we talk about something about Lewis, but that's because you've watched him for a very long time. Have you seen this shell of a Lewis before?
Oh, I mean, look, it doesn't strike
It doesn't,
a
does
lot
it?
of confidence. No, in within the team, your faith in the team. They've got these.
Was that true,
mistakes
by the
with
way? Did you see that where somebody goes,
Yeah.
The
we're
B,
going to plan
C,
B,
B.
and the person said C, and he goes, so plan C, and he goes, no, plan B. And he
Yeah.
goes, so plan B, he goes, C. He goes, what the hell is going on? But he meant C as in yes
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Italian.
Yeah, it's like a who's on first type situation. You can't be having that.
Isn't that? I thought that was. I
breakdown.
thought that might have been fake.
No. Lewis has been learning Italian, but whether or not his
Language
team
barrier.
need to understand.
That's
yeah,
why I don't believe it. That's why I don't think it's real.
Yeah.
Well, they're a team. They all need to understand that. Well, if you're speaking English, then you need to speak English.
Bad.
Not just like broken English.
That explains so much.
Yeah. So you just want to see these kind of little mistakes go away. Nobody wants them. And it's just silly.
Oh, where you hit the
Smooth.
apex.
Yeah. More of a smoother.
Oh, well, yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. So that's where you can attack the corner like a U, or you attack the corner like a V, where you can just
Bulky.
dissect it or bisect it. These cars just aren't
Twitchy cars. Yeah.
set up. Yeah, they're not really working for the U drivers, which is a more typical style
That's cool. Yep.
of racing. And so you're seeing Max and now Oscar who does this, where they attack it like a V. You kind of just go straight at the apex and then turn, as opposed to like smoothing around the corner and being kind of elegant, because that used to be the fastest way. And now it isn't. But we don't really have cars that are good at doing that because of the ground effect. They're quite understeery and they're very heavy, which is why the Red Bull has to be so twitchy. And it seems that the McLaren is heading in that
But
direction. as
why
well.
So
why
how
so
does
different
that-
for
how does-
Mercedes when he had his Merc car? Like, or is it just again? It's too nuanced that they could.
It's just set up differently.
Yeah.
How is
Yeah,
how does
I'm-
that also that particular driving style, because he's synonymous in the sense of like always being a really late breaker. So how does that play into effect with that same sort of taking a corner?
Well, you can't. It's slower to brake, obviously, because they're heavier. Yeah, if you're going more slowly into the corner than trying to come out of it at barnstorming speeds, and it's just a bit. It feels frustrating looking in from the outside.
It's not even the driving that I'm worried about, man. It's just like again, like
His mental.
his mentality,
Right.
and he's just so defeatist, and it's like I love Lewis,
Is that
and I didn't.
New? Remember when he wasn't doing well? He'd
No,
be
I know.
defeatist?
I know that, but you guys, I mean, did you watch
Yeah, woe is
Did you
me.
watch the press conferences afterwards in the,
No, I
in
didn't
the
see it.
media pit? Mate, he was just like the most dejected I reckon I've seen Lewis. And I guess what I want to put forward is like enough with the wanting people to feel sorry for you. You're getting paid $100 million. Sort the fucking shit out and drive. Just and
Do you think
stop being so like woe was me. I'm just a bit over that. But I love Lewis, so
Debbie Downer?
I feel for him. I'm
Do you
like,
think?
yeah.
Do you think it's a case where you know how we all romanticize the idea of him
Yes.
going to Ferrari
Yes.
and that
Everyone
like,
did.
he's gonna,
Yeah, yes, everyone.
you guarantee he
everyone.
probably had he oh shut up, Zippy.
I'm never going to lay this down.
Do you think that he was feeling that same way? Like he had
Tay,
that ray
if
of
you are
hope?
getting paid
Yeah.
I'm sorry, gents, but if you are getting paid $100 million a year, you learn to fucking swallow that pressure, regardless of whether or not he was feeling it. You don't.
Strippers and coke.
I don't even think it was a pressure thing. I think it was that whole how romantic it is. You go to Ferrari, and this is Lewis and Ferrari. It just fits together, And it's like he probably it would have been hard for him not to believe his own hype and everyone else's hype. This is going to be the most we all saw it happen.
But he's
with everyone.
smart enough. He would have. He would have tested the car. He would have known the cars.
I would have argued you guys are smart enough too, but here we are.
I've driven him. This guy's a big.
I just mean, like, he probably had these envisions of, I think maybe he wanted to also prove to himself if he went to Ferrari, he could turn the ship around.
I think it's more
and
that.
He can't.
Yep.
Yeah, of course.
Or he hasn't yet. And he will look like this until something suddenly goes right, and then it will all be like, well, I knew it all along. I had no.
This is the best moment of my life. I want to thank everyone in the factory.
Exactly. It's exactly how I imagined it would go.
So here was a thing when, you know how we talk about Schumacher when he left to go to Ferrari. So one of the things I didn't realize is that he took his whole fucking crew. He took his whole crew to Ferrari.
Carina?
Whereas
His copywriter, his ghostwriter.
Whereas Lewis didn't.
Look, very quickly, let's round out the rest of the top 10. In 5th and 6th, it was another back-to-back Mercedes.
Lovely.
Look, it's obviously
boys.
a measure of how far Merc have come in recent times, that there was actually disappointment internally. So I don't think they were very happy with P5 and P6, particularly after George's quali. But there you go.
George got very quickly taken over too. I don't know if you noticed. Like, something was wrong with his car, I think, because he was miles ahead of Antonelli, and then suddenly he was miles behind everyone, and those two were really close. So I think something must have gone wrong.
Well, look, their race pace didn't look nearly as good as what they looked in quali, which I think is, again, a sign. Look, there's nothing really to say here. Again, they didn't have the race pace to take it to McLaren or Verstappen's Red Bull, nor could they hold off Leclerc's Ferrari. They are, however, second in the championship after the weekend because they both pointed well. I'll tell you what I did love, and I don't want to dive into this for long, guys, but on the weekend, there were 4 different constructors that qualified in the top 4, which I think is just exactly what we want. Yeah, I think that's exactly what we want in F1.
That's awesome.
Nothing else to say on Mercedes?
No, I thought they look solid. Unfortunately, not as fast as they could have been, but they're consistent at least,
Yeah, they are very consistent. All right, 8th and 9th, another team back-to-back. Was Sainz and Albon for Williams. So, again, they continue their best start to the season with another double point. So that's actually Albon's 4th points in 5 races. I'll tell you what, I don't want to speak about this for long, but I'll tell you what I'm loving about Williams, and I think this is a testament to James Vowles, even though Ev fucking can't stand him. He's obviously building a pretty... I think he's building a pretty special culture there, right? I found that the reason... There's what is becoming quite apparent, even with Carlos only being new there, is they're building a real team culture there, a real team environment. And there's a lot of love between them, right? So Sainz came out calling out just how good Albon is. And we've always said Albon's great. I mean, again, you can't ever match up or marry up the on-track versus off-track personality. But, I love Albon. I think he's wonderful. But I think the most impressive thing, which echoes that team-first mentality, is what they did to stop Isaac Hadjar, who finished 10th, just behind Albon, actually getting any more points. So you guys probably saw during the race that for about 10 to 20 laps, Carlos towed Albon. He just stayed within, he let Albon stay within a second, or he pulled his car back.
DRS,
Albon had fresh air in front of him. He could have fucked off. Carlos could have fucked off, but he stayed behind to keep Albon within the DRS window, so that Hadjar couldn't overtake Albon, which I think is awesome and a credit. Ev, you would have loved that sort of race stuff.
Team mentality.
Yeah.
It's that's kind of the sporting aspect.
But not of every team.
But they need to rely on those points more than other teams.
Yeah. Goodness me, you guys, yeah, okay. So Ev's just like, yeah, well, that's sport, and Digby's like, well, you know,
I wouldn't expect anything.
yeah, I wouldn't expect anything less. Okay.
You don't want to dwell on it.
Now I know why Ev hates
You don't
Valve.
want to dwell on it.
Because he is
There's no need to.
Valve.
Williams need to stick together at the moment.
All right, rounding out the top 10, as I mentioned, Isaac, he finished 10th. Just kind of a couple of special mentions. Really bad weekend for Haas. So they came off double points the week before. Nothing this week. Nada. Zilch. Another really bad weekend for Doohan. And ultimately a really bad week again for Alpine because Gasly didn't even get through the fucking second
Doohan
or third
seems to
corner.
suck.
Not his fault. Not his fault. It was quite funny. Did you guys see in the grid walk, Martin went up to, what's his name, Ev? What's the principal or the boss of Alpine? We've spoken about him a lot of times. The really flamboyant
Flavio.
Italian. Flavio.
Flavio Bellatore, or whatever his name is.
Yeah. Martin went up to him and like during the grid walk and was like, "Oh, g'day, Flavio." And he's like, "Yes, I know you." And Martin's like, "Yeah, you fired me once." So there must be a history there. It was very funny. Poor weekend for Alpine. I'm going to say it. I'm just putting it out there. I mean, obviously,
Here we go, another one.
Audi
Brace yourself.
need to hurry the fuck up and come along because Stake are just filling up the numbers at the moment. They are an absolute redundant team on that grid at the moment. What I don't understand, there's a couple of things here. So first of all, did you guys know that Portobello Mushroom, his manager is actually Alonso?
Alonso.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
He
I had no
just
idea.
about took his manager out
He
mid-race.
literally almost cleaned him out during the race.
Jesus, that was scary.
Yeah, and
I want to
was.
know if there's anyone else with drivers and managers still on the grid.
Well,
doubt
come
it.
back to us next week. Do some research on that because I find that really interesting, particularly because they're such fundamentally different teams. I'm not sure how there's not a conflict of interest that Alonso can drive for Aston Martin, but earn cash by putting another driver in another team that's got nothing to do with customer teams. The point I couldn't figure out over the weekend why Stake replaced Zhou Guanyu with Bortoletto because again, like what's the point of having a rookie for the sake of it, particularly if they're going to go change to Audi and he may be out of a drive next year anyway. But then actually I realised that Bortoletto won F2 last year, so I don't know, maybe it's the thing that they're trying to keep doing is reward those F2s. The only other thing I wanted to talk about, gents, is Stroll. I know we've taken a few digs at him. Ev, you're one for records. Poor old Lance, son of Lawrence, became the budding joke of not a very good record over the weekend, where he is now officially holds the record for the most amount of Q1 exits. So he, I think, is now 75 times he's been knocked out of Q1, which is now the record. Now, there's two things. If you want to be a glass half full kind of person, that could be, well, that's great. That's because Stroll's been around as a long time and is obviously a great driver to hold his drive. But I think it's fair to say that if he didn't have a dad, he would have been kicked out a long time ago. Not a record you would want, I would assume, Ev, unless you've got anything else to say to that.
I do not.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
It's not very
Easy.
satisfying seeing someone struggle as much as he's been. Yeah.
Not good. And in saying that, Alonso did finish 11th
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
Aston Martin on the weekend, which is his highest finish. So you can't blame everything
Stroll
on the car.
used to think he was better than Alonso. Anyway,
Yeah. Well, he thinks he's better than Max.
times.
It's, if that quote is true, and he was driving the Red Bull, he'd be, if he was the Red
To
Bull
be
number
fair,
2 driver.
Yuki said that all he has to do is hit the next gear and then he'd be better than Max.
Yeah, true. Boys, guess what? It's time for that segment where chaos meets competition, facts and flukes, and the scoreboard somehow still matters. Welcome to Hush You Been Paying Attention. Now, for those just joining us, this is our weekly quiz segment where my fellow idiots will battle it out to prove once and for all who's keeping their eyes on the F1 news and who's been too busy watching TikToks of J-Lo in the Ferrari garage. I'm looking at you, Tay. Right now, Digby is leading the charge on 2.5 points. As I said at the top of the episode, do not ask me where the half point came from. Tay and Ev are hot on the heels at 2 apiece, which, let's be honest, is closer than a Red Bull number 1 and 2 driver. This week's questions will test everything from what happened in Jeddah to some spicy off-track headlines and maybe even a little geography because, well, why not? Expect bold guesses, even bolder confidence, and at least one moment where someone answers with the name of a driver who's been retired since 2012. I'm looking at you, Ev. Right, before we get started, as always, boys, it is time to test your buzzers. Tay, do we want to start with you?
Yes.
Yeah, go on.
Go on then. Yeah. Well, no, you go on.
Here we go.
75.
What?
What?
75.
What?
That's 75 in French.
What?
Help me understand that one.
You can't say
Oh
it, but
my
you need your phone to do it.
What?
I'm all for that.
Why?
Yeah, because I can't pronounce it.
Why
in French.
75 in French?
He's so happy with
Because
himself.
of fucking Stroll.
But why French?
Well, because
so
it's
pleased
French Canadian.
Oh my god!
Oh.
Oh my god!
Wow.
Are you gonna have to?
Wow. He's been
Lando's
thinking about this
freaking,
for so
Lando's
long.
freaking.
freaking.
Are you gonna have to
Please.
press that every time you want to answer a question?
75.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Can you try? Can you try and say it?
Lose
Can you just
that.
defend whatever French Canadians we have by?
Yeah, hang on. Let me hear it again.
Oh, God.
75.
Suis son camp.
Not bad.
Pretty
Not
good.
pretty good.
Okay.
That's pretty
Got
good.
that.
Perfect.
Right.
No notes.
Digby. Fucking hell.
At the start of the episode, I'd come up with a really good buzzer, and I forgot it. I knew I'd forget it, so I'll come up with a new one. I'll stick with the Stroll theme. You are not my son.
Oh.
Oh no, let me make it shorter. I have no son. I have no
I
son.
have no son.
there you go.
Okay, I don't. Fuck, I've already forgotten what. Shang Shang Huang. I thought it was
Just
like,
some
yeah.
Just a cunt.
Evan, please do me a favor and either put me out of my misery or just double down on this awful, awful intro.
How about Plan B? C? B? What are you talking about, man?
Oh God. Right, here we go. Question 1. Before the weekend, how many times had McLaren finished on the podium at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix?
75.
Oh, Tay, he gets in first. With it.
What? What?
He was, what do you got, Tay?
He's so happy with himself.
I'm going to say 3.
Oh, you're just gonna make it up. Yep. Okay. Well, you're wrong.
Classic.
You're wrong. I thought
have
you were
no
gonna.
son.
I thought you were coming in. I thought you were coming in with full confidence,
Yeah.
and you just.
I have no
Yeah.
son.
He just wanted to get it in there.
You do.
So happy.
Right.
I'm
Anyone
gonna
else have any-
guess? I'm gonna guess 0.
Did you do your buzzer?
Yeah, I did. It's 3
Yeah, you did
times.
Oh.
Yeah,
oh,
you
you
did
did.
it.
You came in second. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Never. They'd never been on the podium
There you go.
pre this race. So first win and first podium. So 1-0 to Digby. Question number 2. Which driver set the fastest lap of the race?
I have no son. Max Verstappen.
Wrong.
Plan B. No C.
What do No, you got to do the whole buzzer.
What are we talking about, man?
You better have this right
oh
answer.
my god.
Yeah.
I'll say Oscar. I think Oscar Piastri definitely had the
Wrong.
fastest- What?
I love that you guys are more confident in not being right than you are in being
I
right.
I was thinking of the. I must have been thinking about the qualifying time he set the record for fastest lap, but that would have been from quali.
Suis son
Yeah,
camp.
Max did. What do you got, Tay?
Charles.
Wrong. It was Lando.
Yeah.
Lando got the fastest
There you
lap.
go.
You guys clearly not. You guys hasn't been paying attention during the race.
No, but also because they made the fastest lap irrelevant now.
Yeah, so it's still interesting. Poor lad doesn't get the point
only
for
thing
it.
that's irrelevant is driver of the fucking day. Wasn't that Max
Yeah.
this week?
It was Max.
Well,
this week.
Yuki was up there,
Yeah, you use out there again.
and it was Max this week. It was
God.
Max.
Anyway, continue.
Yeah.
Continue with the quiz.
All right, question number 3. Which major F1 sponsor is also the world's largest oil
Plan B.
company and based in Saudi Arabia?
Plan B.
Suis son
Oh,
camp.
I think that was
I
Ev.
hate Ev.
I think that was
What do you
Ev.
mean think?
Oh,
It was ever on mine.
bullshit.
Aramco.
It is Aramco.
Oh.
Yeah.
Tay,
Yeah, I
that might
would've
be a
fucking
delay,
had
man.
that.
You're going to have to go even earlier. That might be a delay there. You're so adamant, but... all right, 1-1 to both you and Diggs. Tay, you're still in the game, buddy. In 2022, the equivalent race was almost cancelled. What was the reason for this?
Plan B.
Yeah, what you got?
Terrorist attack on
Be
the oil refinery.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I will give you that. Yeah, so it was a missile strike, remember? It was only 12 kilometers away. And so it was a missile strike on a local nearby, ironically, Aramco oil facility. Some of the drivers reportedly wanted to withdraw, but were ultimately convinced to proceed after assurances from Saudi authorities and F1 leadership about increased
That it was
security.
just
It was only
Lance Stroll
12K.
crashing into an Aramco sign. Is that what I actually saw?
You got that right, Ev. So that's 2 for you.
Mm-hmm.
Right, question number 5. On the weekend, one of the drivers were asked what their plans were for the weekend break, noting there's no racing this weekend. Which driver said they needed to go home to study for high school exams?
I have no
Plan
son.
B.
75.
That's Tay. I actually saw Tay press the
What
button,
the-
so I'll give it to him.
Yeah.
I will.
Yeah.
I did see him.
It was Kimmy.
Yeah, it was Kimmy. Antonelli has to go home and
Which
study for
Kimmy?
his high school exams. That's
Yeah.
wild. That's so wild. How do you even
Good
do
on
that?
him.
Yeah, good on him. What a legend.
You know how to study for the exam. He just has to add a $500 note.
on
To his-
exam paper.
Yeah.
Only
Yeah.
500.
What's a $500 note?
Oh.
What's a $500 note?
Don't you know?
No, like, because like Trump wants like $1 million.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
with his face on it.
Well, in Italy,
Just put a
on the
lasagna.
euro.
Just put a lasagna
Yeah.
on the euro.
Yeah.
You're my state now. You're the 52nd state.
Okay, all right. It's 2 to Ev, 1 to both you and
yeah.
Diggs. Which major event is Saudi Arabia set to host in 2034?
I have no son.
Plan
75.
B.
I assume
I
it's
think
the.
Diggy was
I
first.
assume it's the football World Cup.
Men's or women's?
I can't believe that makes a
Right.
difference to you. I just see it as football.
Yep. Yeah, there you go. All right, so 2-all. 2-all to Diggs and Ev. Right, remember you lose 2 points for getting the next 2 questions wrong. So 2 points lost per question. There's 2 questions left. Question 7. Tay, you obviously answer, and you answer both of them and you win. If the boys get them wrong, you win. Which Saudi Arabian city is the
Simple.
birthplace of Islam and home to the religion's holy site?
I think I know, but I don't want to get it wrong.
Which
I think
Saudi
it-
Arabian city is the birthplace of Islam and home of the region's holiest site? Yeah, religion's holiest site.
Okay.
75.
Oh, Tay's gone. It's gone for it.
Here we go.
Is it the Mecca?
Yes,
yeah,
Taylor.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
And I was so
Yes,
scared it
it
wasn't
is.
in
It's
Saudi
Mecca.
Arabia.
Well, it's not the Mecca. It's Mecca. That's
Oh, so
that's
that's
the
incorrect
city.
then.
Yep.
No,
No, that's right. It's 2-all.
Digby.
It's 2-all. So the last one is.
Sorry, no, it isn't. No, it isn't. Oh, I only
No,
get one
you only
point,
get one.
but I
Sure
lose
do, I
two.
get
Yeah,
one.
but they
Yep,
lose 2.
Yep.
So Mecca, as noted, it's also the home to the religion's holiest site, the Kaaba, I'm really sorry if I got that wrong. I think
not.
it's located obviously within the Grand Mosque and is the primary focus of Muslim prayer, which is awesome. Question 8: which world famous footballer currently plays in the Saudi
Plan
Pro
B.
League? Oh, you sure?
Yeah.
Sure,
yeah.
Ev?
Give it
You
to
sure?
me. Cristiano Ronaldo.
It is. Well done, Evan. You have won it, baby.
Mwah. Mwah.
For 500 million. For 500 million.
I should have gone
Yes,
with Mecca. I don't know why I didn't just come in with Mecca. That's what I almost guessed immediately, and I held back.
Because
I was terrified.
because you're Lando.
Yeah.
You're Lando.
Yeah, what are you?
Yeah, you're Lando.
Well done.
I'm Oscar mate.
Evan, you are now in the lead of Harsh. You've been paying attention.
Oh yeah.
Hudson.
Phenomenal. This feels right. Don't feel wrong, that's for sure.
Sneaking around.
Well done. That is it for another week of Harsh. You've been paying attention. Okay, right. Now it's time for What's Verstappening, the segment where we trade facts for flair and journalistic integrity for some time-forced chaos. This week we're diving deep into the gossip garage with the possible return of a grid hero, multi-million-dollar fantasy offers, 2026 regulation rage, and an academy seeking to break more than just on-track barriers. So buckle up, keep your arms and opinions inside the vehicle at all times. This is What's Verstappening. Right, in terms of order, because he's so adamant of getting this bang on right time, Digby, you will go first. Evan second, Tay third. Cool?
Set by example. Biatch.
It hasn't worked so far, but let's try it.
All right. Topic number 1. Vettel in, old man yelling at Sky out. Not Sky, the TV program. In a recent development, Red Bull's long-serving motorsport advisor, Helmut Marko, has named 4-time Formula One world champion Sebastian Vettel as his ideal successor to oversee the team's driver development program and broader motorsport activities. Marko, who's questionably been instrumental in shaping Red Bull's driver lineup since 2005, it's not questionably, he has. He acknowledged that while he won't be able to continue indefinitely, Vettel's deep ties to the team and his experience make him a suitable candidate for the role. Gents, if Vettel were to assume Marko's role, how might this affect the current team dynamics, especially with drivers like Verstappen? Digby, you are on the clock.
I would be really interested to see what happens here, because do you get later years Vettel, who's nice and calm and tranquil and a lovely guy, or do you get Red Bull Vettel? I'd like to think you get newer Vettel, comes in, it's a bit more of a peaceful and positive atmosphere, but still with the knowledge and the strategy that he would have and bring great expertise.
Nah.
Okay, so you're a fan. You're for it. I mean, to be honest, we could be talking about anyone to replace Helmut, and I think we'd all be for it. Right, Evan, Locke, your turn. You're on the clock. 5 seconds gone.
I mean,
It's a yes,
Evan
it's
does
a
not
yes.
like being put in a time limit.
yeah.
Jokes aside, though, Ev, and I'm just gonna obviously.
Oh, here we go.
I just Diggs,
excuses already.
I just
Oh,
feel
God.
like, and
You're
I want to
Lawrence
get Ev's
Stroll.
perspective.
On the
Put it on the Patreon. Yeah, I want to just get Ev's perspective here. Diggs, you alluded to Sebastian being a very different person to what he was in his later years, but I feel like if you're looking for a circuit breaker at Red Bull, to your point, which has been unbelievably successful, historically a wonderful brand, particularly when it comes to extreme sports, and F1 obviously being in that, I think he could be the best thing for F1 right now.
Yeah. Bringing in someone who can be inspiring and relatable. I think we all want that.
Yep.
I mean, there is a power vacuum there since Dietrich Mateschitz passed away. And that's why we've seen a lot of this turmoil. Bringing in Vettel, would that mean that Christian Horner has more power if you get rid of this pebble in his shoe that Helmut has been?
Well, remember Horner and Vettel obviously work together. Okay,
Yeah,
well, anyways,
yeah.
that's a watch this space. I'm really interested to see what happens there. Sounds like it's not going to be anything soon, but I think the sooner the better. Tay, you are on the clock.
I think he will be great. It'll drastically change the whole dynamic of the whole team. As to whether that would be what they're after or what they need, I don't know if it will necessarily bring world champions like Max. It'll be different, but it could be a good thing. I like Vettel, so I'd be happy to see him there.
I think he'd be great for the younger generations. I think he's a four-time world champion. Yes.
Yeah, 4-time.
Yeah. All right. Okay, next topic. F1 Academy, breaking more than lap records. The F1 Academy, Formula One's all-female development series, in which every team sponsors a driver, hit the Jeddah circuit over the weekend. This was the series debut in Saudi Arabia, and it was particularly notable because of the symbolic context, a women-only racing series competing in a country where women were only granted the right to drive in 2018. It was seen both as a milestone moment for visibility and inclusion, and also raised some questions about the optics of holding such an event in a region still under obviously such scrutiny for its human rights record, particularly around gender equality. Gents, we saw a local wildcard driver, Farah Al-Youssef, get her debut, and apologies if I haven't completely got that pronunciation right, but she got herself a debut in front of a home crowd. How cool is it to see that kind of opportunity in a place where women only got the right to recently drive?
I mean, yeah, that's great if it's breaking barriers, but I mean, does it really change the atmosphere of Saudi Arabia? If that does it genuinely have that change, or is it just another oh, look at all these milestones are breaking. And it's like, sorry, I just don't really care. Like, great.
Well, I
great
mean, it's
that
the
they
sum
can
of all parts, right? Like, we
great,
can't
great
say
that they
this
can
in
do
itself.
it. Like when they used to do it and they couldn't. And I was like, wow, this is huge. It's like, it's good that they can force that in. But yeah, I think that's good.
Did you know that Did you know that they're making that there will be a new Netflix doco about the F1 Academy? It won't be obviously in the same vein of Drive to Survive, but I think in terms of is it Susie Wolf that runs that?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
See, I think it's good that they do that because that's the thing that worked with F1, getting to know the drivers. Once we're invested in the drivers, it'll be much. I still want them to have something to do with the point system in the men's though, to make it.
Well, they had
And there has to be drama narrative.
And they had Jamie. Is it Jamie Chadwick? Is Jamie Chadwick the Aston Martin driver? Or
She's still driving?
She was on the She was on the Sky broadcast all weekend. She was good. She was great.
Yeah,
She
she's great.
Really,
She
she
dominated.
was.
Danica will
I
be
think that's
amazing.
going to
Better
happen
than
for a while.
Danica.
There's going to be a lot of domination for a while until they get more women into the sport, like with any sport.
Yeah,
when it's
but obviously
you-
that's
you-
the point of this, right? This is
So
the
this is-
initiative
this
of the
is
F1
to
Academy is to
replace-
provide a pathway.
So this
of
is
course,
to replace
of course.
the W formula, right? Formula
Formula
W or
Is
whatever
it?
it was. Yeah.
It's the
W
same-
series.
It's,
Okay.
it's the same thing, right? But it's just a different. I don't understand how it's different, but it's different.
Well, I think this is a genuine feeder into the likes of F3, F2, unlike the W series, which ran
Where it
as a
was its own
completely
thing.
separate
Yeah.
thing.
Mm.
This is to kind of Anyways, one for everybody
I
to look into.
digress.
Sorry, Ev, I cut you off. I digress. Go.
Oh,
It's a huge
I mean-
milestone that women are driving in Saudi Arabia.
yes, right. I mean, is it going to change anything?
Do you think it matters to the F1 though? Like this is a great initiative by. Oh, but you're cynical about F1's climate change shit too. Like
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah. So
yeah. What are you going to do with
All
the
topics.
all your private jets and jumbo jet logistics zigzagging around the world? If you want to have women, if you want to empower them, then give them points.
Oh, in F1.
Yeah, give them
Yeah, that's cool.
something
Yeah, wow.
to contribute that's meaningful. That
I don't think it should be the same race, but I think the teams should be like as Russell and Antonelli share points for their team, they should also share points with their academy driver. It all should be a part of it.
Oh, so
'Cause
you're
it is
saying that like the
Team Mercedes
championship should be the
same.
combination of those, the F1 race plus
Yeah.
the F1 Academy
Yeah,
race.
Yeah.
why not?
Yeah,
Because
wow.
if
That's
you
bold.
if you really want me to take it seriously that you're part of Team Mercedes, then be part of Team Mercedes.
Bring them as part of
Yeah,
it.
but is this is not to suggest that, correct me if I'm wrong, but the F1 Academy is set up to get people in a position where they can race F1 rather than be the equivalent of F1. It's like
not,
F2 and
why
F3.
not kill two birds with one stone? Like why not do that? I don't see the negative in doing that. It would I think it would build interest because I don't really foresee a lot of girls making it to F1 for a long time simply because of the physical side of it, which has been brought up a few times by Chadwick and
even Danica. Danica
Yeah,
called it out.
so-
But then
so
she was
if the-
challenged on that too. But Ev, just quickly, does F2 or F3 that can have female races, right? It's not exclusively men.
no, it's not exclusive.
I don't think any of them are exclusively men, are they?
No, it's just a matter of trying to
No,
get there.
but again, I guess that's my point. It's like if F3 and F2 exist as development products for F1, why is F1 Academy in existence? Why don't they just go straight into F3 or F2? Or is this like Division 4, F4?
I would have thought this is like
No, it's not like
it's
F4.
encouraging a higher quantity than you'd usually get. So by making it exclusively for women,
More opportunity, more racing.
opportunity, which over
Yep.
time
More profile.
means you will build that number, so you'll have a more consistent skill level from the women, and that will then push the ceiling up. Then in turn might
Okay.
get them more involved in F3.
Which,
but
to your point-
I actually think it's more fun having like most sports. You've got the women's and the men's division, but combine them. You can do something really exciting with that. I don't know why they wouldn't.
Yeah. Maybe they will one day.
They should have like male models,
Good
or
boys, yeah.
like Yeah.
8 out of 10 cats. 8 out of 10
that's
cats
right.
does countdown every
Jamie
time they
Jury.
put a prize out.
Yeah.
They
Jamie
had the
Jury.
Ben come
That's
out
right.
in their
Some
little...
Chip and
Hey,
Dale.
listen, you two have that's enough out of you
No,
two.
that'll be
Tay,
great.
very quickly. Anything you want to wrap up into that hasn't been covered off?
Nah.
No, okay. Right, there we
Wonderful.
go.
Nothing more
Inside.
to add to that.
Okay, next topic. Less hybrid, more racy? I went upwards because that's like a question mark. The
More
2026... The 2026 Formula One regulations aim to introduce a new hybrid power unit formula, emphasizing sustainability and technological advancement. As I understand it, it is to be a 50-50 split between internal combustion power and the electric element. However, some teams have proposed reducing the hybrid deployment, citing concerns over performance and competitiveness. Toto Wolff has strongly opposed these suggestions, arguing that such changes would undermine the sport's commitment to innovation and could make F1 appear indecisive to manufacturers and fans alike. Gents, what are your thoughts on the proposed reduction in the hybrid deployment for 2026? And do you agree with Toto Wolff's stance that it undermines the sport's direction? Also, isn't it way too late to be changing what's supposed to be happening next year?
Also, they're already undermining all those things, but what they do between races. So it kind of just is farcical to make me believe that they're making any effort at all in that regards. I don't
You're
see
talking
why
about
they'd
them all
change
going on their private jets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The way they structure it all, the way they have to fly. It's such a it's using a teaspoon to get oil out of the fucking ocean. Like it's not doing anything other than going, hey guys, I'm helping. You know,
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing fuck off.
I'm doing
Toto
fucking
Wolff,
shit.
I'm doing my part. You're doing fucking shit. So yeah, that's fine.
Ev, you'd have, like...
Yeah, I mean, they want to simplify the manufacturers. They want to simplify the powertrain. As you said, 50-50. There was talk
M. Night
about
Shyamalan.
God, now you got me doing it. Mohammed Ben Sulayem held a meeting with all the manufacturers, engine manufacturers, to see if they wanted to go to V8s or V10s, which is what everybody wants. But that got shut down by the manufacturers because they want
Fans.
Well, they want fans, but they need their road cars. Everybody wants a hybrid or a fully electric car these days. There's not enough of a prospect for V8, like roaring V8s.
From a consumer's perspective.
Yeah, exactly. Which is disappointing, but that's the reality of the economics.
But this is supposed to be for next year, right? This is 2026 when they're introducing these new... No?
No, it was for the next regulations. And they were going to bring them
sorry.
forward.
That's why I was like, why are they... How are they
No.
debating that now?
No, I know. 2026, they're bringing in more regs. This is going to be 2028-ish that they were going to bring in. They were thinking about bringing in V8s or 10s. And there was such a popular reaction from the public that's why MBS held that meeting early to try and bring it forward.
It all comes down to the racing, right? If the racing
make it
still,
good.
if it's good racing, then I don't really give a shit. Obviously, we all love the sound of a V10 and V12 and V8, but we're never going to get that again, which sucks. But as long as the racing's fun and it's all competitive, then that's all I give a shit about.
I still don't understand. I know we've spoken about these types of areas in previous podcasts when I did the first season, but I still don't understand at what point the intercept between Formula E and Formula One comes. Anyways, all right. Mo money, mo problems. Final topic, boys. During the recent Saudi Arabian Grand Prix weekend, reports emerged suggesting that Max Verstappen might be offered a record-breaking contract to join Aston Martin. According to the La Gazzetta dello Sport, the proposed deal is valued at $470 million. That's US dollars over 3 years. So it works out to be about 160.
264 pounds.
Yeah, so about 160 mil a year, potentially making Verstappen one of the highest paid athletes globally. This offer is reportedly backed by Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund, so I spoke about that last week, which has existing ties to Aston Martin through the sponsorship and investment. Gents, firstly, we've hypothesized a lot over the last few episodes of what is going to happen with Max. We even did it earlier today. And whilst this is gobsmacking, my question is less to do with Max leaving and more to do whether money is inevitably going to ruin this sport. I know we've had money influencing track selection and winners, so obviously pre-cost cap beforehand, but this is a crazy amount of money. Surely, A, it's not sustainable, and B, is Max actually worth that sort of money? And then I had to remind myself that Lewis is currently being paid 100 mil, and he's finishing 7th on the grid, so maybe he is. So anyways, who was first? Diggs.
I think Lewis is worth more than that at 7th than Max currently is at 2nd. It seems an unnecessary amount of money. I'm not a big fan of big oil money being injected into sport. I just think it kind of ruins it. Like, it's just having too much money doesn't always save you. Like, look at the Dallas Cowboys. They've got all the money in the world and they can't win anything. So it doesn't always necessarily ruin it. I don't know. It's just a bit icky for me. So I don't think he's worth that much. So yeah, just stay out of it. Get out.
Ev.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a house is worth what it sells for, not what it's
Fair enough. Yep.
on the market for. So if he's worth that, then good on him. More power to you. It is weird. It is hard to wrap your head around.
You know that?
Yeah, whatever his market potential is, what they might plan on being very successful, and so therefore having Max on as the top of their cake would be a really good thing.
Yeah.
As you saw with Mercedes being so dominant with Lewis.
Tay, quick, round it out, mate.
At the end of the day, it's like, yeah, how much money can you really spend but still be worth and entertaining as a sport? So I don't know, to be honest.
No, if no one else is trying to buy him, then no, he's not worth that much.
No.
Fair enough. Well, to be fair, I love just as a reminder, he's only being paid, I think, about 70 at Red Bull a year, which is so much
60.
money.
It's 60 odd.
60. It's so much money.
Yeah.
In saying that,
Cost
I
of
think
living
out of
prices.
tonight's episode, I love where Ev was going, that maybe the red hot take is that he's going to take a sabbatical and he's going to sit out the year, figure out what happens, and then he'll take all that money when he comes back. With that, dear listeners, is another lap around the idiots of F1. From the sandstorm of strategy in Saudi to the chaos of the quiz scoreboard, it's been a few days full of action both on and off track. We've argued, speculated, and possibly defamed a few F1 personalities along the way, but that's what you're here for, and we love you for it. If you've enjoyed the episode or just tolerated it, please make sure to like, subscribe, leave us a review, engage with us on socials, and share it with that one mate who still thinks DRS is a cryptocurrency. We'll be back next week as we roll into the sun, speed, and celebrity chaos of the Miami Grand Prix, which always delivers off track, if not on track. So expect palm trees, pit stops, and plenty more idiocy. Until then, drive fast, quiz hard, and keep it idiotic. Catch you next time. Bye.